Hey folks, and how are you doing? Now, welcome to the first episode of the next 12 months. Now, this brand new podcast is all about what's going to be happening in different people's industries over the next 12 months. And we're going to be hearing from business owners and community leaders, and we're going to be getting their predictions of what they think is going to be happening in their particular industry over that period of time. Now, the idea is that we will get that future knowledge so we can be a bit better prepared for what's going to come up. Today, we've got Paul Newton. Now, I'm going to leave Paul to introduce himself, but I can safely say now Paul is a very, very good guy. We worked together on quite a few events now, probably say at least 2 events. Been on his podcast, it's great. And I can't wait to see and hear his predictions for his industry over the next 12 months. So Paul, tell us a little bit about you and about your industry and about what you do.
Of course I can, mate. So I'm Paul Newton. I've been a magician. I'm a stage magician and close-up magician. I've been doing that as my sole income for about 15 years. 3 years ago, I started a company called Mental Theft, which is all about how a mind reader would steal all of your personal information. And I do talks around that, and I warn people about, look, if I can do this when I'm telling you I'm going to do this, what are scammers and fraudsters up to behind your back? And as you mentioned a minute ago, I also have a podcast called Newton's Nuggets. And I have to say a massive thank you to you, Gary, because you've helped me make that what it is, nudging me the right way, nudging me and Jesse and helping us whenever we've needed it. Mate, seriously, really appreciate everything you've done.
Yeah, it's all good, and it's all right back at you. Now,
I love you, dude.
So you've spent the last 15 years as a stage magician. So lots of events kind of experience. And when you say stage, I know you've done kind of not just kind of shows, you've done exhibitions and done loads of different talks. How's the last 12 months been for you?
Well, the last 12 months have been nuts, because when we first went into lockdown, I thought that was it. I mean, the speaking business was gone because you were only allowed in rooms of under 30 people, I think it was. And the entertainment business was just absolutely kicked in the backside because, again, you're only allowed in a room full of under 30 people. So I think I went into depression then. Took me quite a while. And then I wrote a book about how a mind reader would steal stuff. Thankfully, that went really well. Launched it December, so, oh my God, 13 months ago now.
Yep.
Which then hit into your 12-month question, which is I suddenly became a speaker again, but I was doing most of it online, which then weirdly turned me into a worldwide business, whereas before I'd only done England, UK stuff because of travel. But all of a sudden, you just have to sit in front of your computer and you can speak to anyone in the world. Yeah, I was getting bookings in America and Australia and the UK. So the last 12 months have been weird. In the last few months, I've been doing live talks again for Mental Theft, been to some amazing venues. But even then, some of the changes where you have to limit the amount of people and the distance between people and the amount of tests and assessments people have to go through before they're allowed in. So at the moment, the worry is, yeah, you can book an amazing speaker for an amazing event, but what happens if they go down with a virus the day before? You know, you have to have backups.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is going to suddenly disappear overnight. We're now in a position where people want to do things, but I think there's still a lot of fear in a lot of people's heads. And to be honest with you, rightly so.
Yep.
Nobody knows what this virus will do to them. So we've still got to keep it as clean and as careful as possible, whilst also wanting to get out there and rebuild the whole economy. And let's be honest, if the events industry isn't running, how much fun are people having?
There's that. Yeah, there is that. It's one of those things where I look forward to going out. I look forward to going out and seeing a show, being entertained. I look forward to going out for a meal, and it's not just because of what I'm kind of looking at or kind of eating or all that kind of thing. It's the atmosphere. It's the atmosphere. It's the ambiance. It's those kind of things that make a show or make a restaurant extra special. And if you haven't got those people around it, it's hard to replicate that. If you can replicate it. and I know I haven't been out doing talks myself, but I have been doing I've been a local person who's done some live stream for some events. And the speakers are struggling because they're trying to, for hybrid events, they're trying to talk to a camera plus also an audience. So they're doing kind of split attentions, I suppose you can call it. But also they've got smaller people and they've got their own pressures that they've got to do, and they need to make sure that the venue's all sorted. There's a lot of stuff going on in the events industry, which we could really, really kind of pick apart if we
Mate, and you think about it, every speaker, every decent entertainer that's out there, they've grown knowing that when an audience gives you a reaction, that's feedback, okay? And you use that feedback while you're on stage to find out if you're going the right way for that audience. You suddenly go on to Zoom and other video conferencing things are available. You go onto any one of them, most of them, you can see pictures of a lot of the attendees. Let's say you've limited it to 50. Even though there's 400 people, you can see about 50-ish. Okay. Some of them, you go in as a speaker and you can't see anyone in the audience. Now, I don't like those ones. And if somebody's doing a gig through that one, I'm like, I'm not happy with this because I can't see if I nail the bit of mind reading I'm doing or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, that reaction's gone for a lot of people. So it's how do they know if it's right for the audience at the time? Mate, it's weird. It's a totally different feeling. And it is just weird. Mm. When I did first live event again last year when we were allowed to, it was amazing. Just hearing that applause again. Rather than looking at a screen of 50 people that are doing this and you can't hear anything. And it just looks like they're waving their hands towards each other and you can't even hear the clapping. It was weird, mate. It is.
I'd say, is it an adrenaline rush as well when you get the applause a little bit? Or almost you don't get it on Zoom. So therefore you go off a Zoom call and you think, that's done.
Do you know what, Gary? You've just hit on something spot on there. If I do a stage gig, you're almost after that rush of the audience saying, you did well. We loved that.
Yeah.
And that for me is something I chase. A lot of entertainers do, and we like that. I did a massive stage show through Zoom. Mm-hmm. When you have a rush like that, you need some way to expel it. You need to walk, you need to drive, you need to dance like an idiot in your car. Okay, that's what I normally do. But you finish a Zoom show, you turn your computer off, you then walk the 20 meters of your garden to your house, and you've got all this pent up, and my wife, the first time she saw it, she literally just got the dog lead, harnessed my dog up and went, go for a walk, quick. Because I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And she just said, take the dog for a walk. Just take the dog for a walk. Go for a run and a walk with the dog. And it was spot on. I needed a release somewhere.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Weird times.
It is. Let's look forward. So let's look forward to the next 12 months. So we're having a chat in 12 months' time. And we're going to be making some predictions that you think could come true. It might not. It might come true. Where you think your industry is going to be at that point in time. So, Paul, what is your first prediction?
I honestly think I think venues are going to have to change a bit. The venues that with their air and their filtration system and their air conditioning, because you think air conditioning is basically pulling air into the system and then pumping it back out again into the. So if you're just doing that all the time, what you're actually doing is pushing people's breath back at them. But I think that the venues who do work on the filtration systems are gonna reap the rewards. Because let's be honest, there's still fear in people's heads. There's still a worry about what's going on out there. Okay, we've got this thing that we can't even see trying to attack us. If a decent venue has decent filtration and it just gives people a bit more of belief that you're okay to be in that venue, I honestly think those venues will absolutely reap rewards. I look at I've been booked for quite a few events for the next year. Mm-hmm. All of those events come with the caveat of we don't know if we'll have to cancel at short notice. Yeah. A lot of those events that used to be one-day exhibitions or expos, whatever you want to call them, they're now split into 2 days. And they're doing things that I completely agree with, by the way, of having day A, day B, day 1, day 2, whatever you want to call it. But they're banning people from coming at both days. And I think that's a good move, because it means the numbers cut down. But then the flip side of that is, for somebody like me, that means I've only got half the time in my diary that I used to have. Because now for one gig, I'm taking 2 days over it. Then there's going to be more expenses, because we're now paying out for more hotels for the same one gig. And I think that's going to be, it's a good change, and it's the right way to go. Mm-hmm. Because of that, if you're someone like me who hates admin, and I'm rubbish at keeping an eye on my diary, and I need to earn more money to put someone else in to do that, because seriously, Gary, you know how bad I am at that stuff. And then I think event managers are going to have to get better at their communication, because thankfully, if anyone's listening to this and they're working with me already, thankfully, the people I'm working with have been brilliant. They've been absolutely amazing, giving me as much notice and as much warning as possible. But, you know, those event managers, they've got to do the same for their customers, not just their speakers, the people who are booking stalls and booking stands. And as in the approach, are they going to spend money on the stand a month ahead of time when they still don't know if it's going ahead? I mean, I've got it easy. I walk up with my little bag, put a roller banner out, and I'm ready.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But these people who are spending tens of thousands of pounds on a stand to look good for 2 days, how much warning do they need? It's going to be cancelled. I honestly think venues are going to have to put some money into being better venues. I think we've got to watch our diaries, and we've got to give each other more leeway and be more understanding. And I think the event managers are out there, my word, they're going to have their work cut out for them. I don't think this is going to just disappear in the next 12 months. I think this is something that's going to be around for a bit longer. But we've got to get the economy back up and running.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So at the moment, obviously, we're recording it. This is going out in February. We're recording it late January. But it's... I think the next couple of months is going to be a testing time for venues. So looking at your point number one about the air filtration systems being put in place in ventilation, I think that's a really good point, because people want to feel safe in a venue. That's their number one kind of priority at the moment. Obviously, they want to be entertained and they want to be educated and all that kind of stuff, but they want to feel safe. They want to know that they're going to go somewhere and they've got all the safeguards in place. Yeah. And for some venues, I'm sure they're going to have to invest some money to be able to do that, or to up their kind of levels on that. So do you think the next couple of months will be really a kind of a testing time, a kind of a building side for them, where they are going to be installing different things, and then come, let's say, Easter, so April time, we're going to start to see April, May, June, the events really kind of kick in? Or do you reckon it's going to be later on in the year? What's your gut feeling about that?
I think we're going to, for the first 6 months or so, I think we're going to have a lot more events splitting their days, like I said, keeping the numbers down. I think the masks are going to stay on for a long time. I really do. And then I did a gig in December last year, and at that, I put my kit out on a table, and the person who was in charge of health and safety on the day looked at my kit, looked at everything, and went, "Has this all been sanitized?" Yeah. And I'm not being funny, mate, but you know, if you've got a pack of cards on the table, and I literally now, if I know I'm going to use a pack of cards, I spread them out on a table so you can see every card, and I spray them all. I then flip them over and spray them again. I then keep my hands as clean as possible. But mate, if we do those things, and that therefore makes it safe for my volunteer to pick up those cards, then that's what I've got to do. Mm-hmm. Kind of scares you, because 2 years ago, you wouldn't have even thought of that.
Right.
2 years ago, if I was at a gig and I passed you a pack of cards, you wouldn't bat an eyelid.
No.
Now you're thinking, did he wash his hands? Are these cards clean? Is this a new deck, or has this been used hundreds of times? Over a trick that's pick a card.
Isn't it? Different ball game.
And if I have to think about that, then think about the whole exhibition. Okay, what have we had to do to get all of these cogs working together to make this as safe as possible? And it goes nuts. But if everyone does take the time to do those silly things, we can do this. We can get this back. And I think in 6 months' time ish, we'll have some form of normal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really hoping that the worst variant of COVID has been. I really hope that this virus gets weaker. But I don't know. I really don't know. And then the horrible fact is, mate, we've just had one killer virus. So are there other potentials out there?
It's a big one. And I would love to have the answer, but I don't think anyone has the answer 100% for that.
No.
But I think you're dead right. I think it's about putting those precautions in. And whether it's a venue or a person going to a venue or a performer or a technician, just having that process in place to be able to keep you and them safe as possible is a big thing. One thing that you mentioned before was about event organisers being understanding and having kind of being, because you could be okay one day and the next day you might not be. I've seen event organisers changing their kind of ways they're working to make sure that they are more accommodating for speakers, to have backup plans and that kind of stuff. And even down to in late 2021, comic people who don't know me, I'm into comics, full disclosure, but Comic Cons in America were split over 2 days rather than one day. And they had, like you said, one person couldn't go to both days, but they also had a reduced capacity and a reduced exhibition size. So things are working, things are happening. We just need to be accommodating and make sure everyone is safe. But event organisers for sure have to be accommodating and kind of plan it all out. After the next 6 months, you've got, I think October, from August onwards, we're going to see a shift. Hopefully, touch wood. This
is it. Touch wood, fingers crossed, everything. I think we're then going to start seeing event organisers, venues, big bookers. So the bigger corporates are going to start going, that venue have sorted out their health and safety, and we know we can trust XYZ. So that's when I think they'll start going, let's do this. Let's come back. Let's do this with a bang, and let's make this big. and let's be honest. If you've got a massive bank that is used to having its thousands of employees in one venue for a shindig of some sort, okay, does it really matter if we limit those things to 500-600 people? I don't think it does. If we take that massive corporate annually explosion that they always do and go, actually, we're going to split this into 6 separate events, and we're going to spread that over 3 days. It's do you know what? If you get the teams of people in the audience right, I think you get the same result. Downside, which I hinted at earlier, is the cost. There's going to be more cost, and the event managers having to have leeway. I mean, you know that because you know me personally, and me and you do chat, and we keep an eye on each other through social media and stuff. You know that I was hit quite bad with COVID mid-December.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you've got a month that was meant to be the month that I earned enough money to get back into the black and feel good again about finances. Mate, I think I lost more than $4,000 of gigs. What can you do? I've still got sorry to everyone. I try not to cough, but it's still there. And it's not just the $4,000 of gigs. It's how do those bookers react? Because I've now just got pretty much the government saying you are not doing those gigs because you're ill. Thankfully, I work with really nice and amazing people. Yeah. Every single one of them that I told about it just went, Paul, stop. Just lay in bed if you need to. Concentrate on getting better. That's all you need to do. Yeah. We'll take care of everything here. I just hope, and you know what? Something I'm going to look forward to is I think this is going to kick arrogance right where it hurts. Because I think as a speaker or as an entertainer, if you're an arrogant git anymore, people just won't want to work with you. If you're a booker or an events manager, if you've got a level of arrogance with the people that come and make you look amazing, they're not going to want to do your gigs. Honestly, mate, this has been such a leveler. I think this is the time for good people to help good people, and we could come out of this absolutely fighting strong.
I love it. I love it. So just to recap, what are your 3 predictions for the next 12 months?
For a quick recap, I think for the next 12 months, venues are going to have to up their game.
Yep.
They really are, on all of the kit that they offered. And, that includes Wi-Fi, connectivity, filtration systems. Even make sure all the windows can open, for crying out loud. Just think about it sensibly. I think diary-wise, we're going to have to be clever, better at it. And I know I'm one of those people that's going to have to sort that out. And I've done things, and I've automated things to make that better. And I think, do you know what? The last one I'm going to say is the level of leeway we give each other as human beings. Drop the arrogance. Be nice to each other. Try and help each other. I honestly think over the next year, all of those things have to be sorted, have to be looked at and worked at. Because I've seen it, mate. I've seen some arrogant acts who are now just not seen at all.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, people just want to work with people who they like. That's, if you can get along with someone and you get that person compared to someone else who you don't or you're not too sure about, who you can work with, it's a no-brainer.
Whereas a couple of years ago, you'd go, oh, they're a well-known act, so I'll ignore it. Do you know what? These last 2 years, we've all been through so much. I nearly said a really bad word then. We've all waded through so much bad treacle.
Good word.
Thanks. That I now think we're all kind of going, no, I'm not putting up with your rubbish anymore. I'm now doing this because I love it and I want to work with people that I want to work with. Mate, hopefully arrogance will get kicked into touch now.
Love it. So Paul, if people wanted to find more information about you as a magician, you as mental theft, you as a podcaster, how can they?
Mate, all you have to do is look at Mental Theft, and you'll find us everywhere on socials, on Twitter, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. The website is mentaltheft.co.uk or mentaltheft.com. That was when we started up the company. That was something we were really strict on, is making sure we nailed all of them. And the podcast, go to wherever you download your podcasts and just type in Newton's Nuggets. You'll find us. We're also on socials everywhere with that. And do you know what, Gary? I know you talked me through this in the first year of Newton's Nuggets, and you kept pushing me and saying, look, there's something there, mate. This will work. This will work. This is going to get traction. I look back now at the numbers of people that follow Newton's Nuggets and download it and listened or watch it on YouTube. And me and Jesse are just like, who are these nutters? Why do they keep going back? They're amazing and we love them to bits, but they're mad.
Yeah.
Why are they listening to us too? And then we go, actually, we do interview some amazing people. They're just here for the interviews. That's got to be what it is. And it keeps growing, mate. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Beauty of what you've got with Newton's Nuggets. This is just for the people who haven't listened to it. Please just go to iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen. Check it out. I've been a guest, been a sponsor. And it's been so good. So good to see the journey. But most podcasts, and we're diverting a little bit, fail after the first 6 episodes because they haven't got the right plan. They haven't got the right idea. You've had the right idea from the start. You and Jesse have got a great formula. You get great guests. You do great recaps. You good marketing. It's just a winner. But the big thing is you've had the time. You've had the longevity to keep going. And do you know what? You're reaping the water. Fair play to you. Fair play to you. Newton's Nuggets, check it out. Check it out, folks.
Mate, do you know what? I think every so often I think, that's it. I think we've peaked. That's it. I think we'll stop the podcast because of X, Y, Z. And then you get a message in from a listener or a follower who goes, oh, my word, that interview just helped me with this. Thank you so much for being there. And it's like, oh, we're carrying on then. We'll carry on. We got this.
And long may it continue. Long may it continue. So, Paul, thank you so much for your time today. Listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been the first episode of the next 12 months. We're going to have an episode every fortnight. So please tune in, subscribe, like, all that kind of good stuff. Paul, thank you so much for your time. I'll drop some links into the description so the viewers and listeners can check it out. Dead simple. So please click on those links, connect with Paul, connect with Newton Nuggets. And thank you very much, everyone, for watching and listening. Take care, folks.